The holly tree? Native cacao? You what? Watch on to find out more.
Seeds in the garden. Seeds in the garden. Seeds in the garden.
Hi, I'm Kaz. I'm one of the Seed Sisters, and I'm completely passionately potty about plants. And in particular, my passion has led me to this fascination with this beauty. You might recognise this familiar evergreen here in the UK. This is holly. And this time of year, it's the full moon of the summer solstice, so June time, when the solar energy is at its total peak. That's the perfect time for working and harvesting with the holly. So this is Ilex aquifolium, our native evergreen sacred tree, and we often talk about holly as being our native version of cacao. The theobromine, which is the alkaloid in chocolate, that gives us those euphoric, heart-opening, relaxing, uplifting essence qualities, is present in the holly. And many years ago, when Fee and I, t'other seed sister, were out and about, we noticed that during the summer months, you can literally go up to the holly and embrace. You can touch these leaves without any fear or worry of getting, these sharp spines. So you looking at the holly might be thinking about or remembering a time when you pricked yourself with these prickles, but these are the fresh new growth. They're super soft, they're really pliable, and they've got no aggression at all within them. So it's at this time of year that we harvest and create our holly tincture, the Ilex aquifolium tincture, which I'm going to do now. And it's very, very simple. I've just harvested these this morning. We wait for a sunny day and make sure that all of the dew, everything is dried off the leaves. And we go with a pair of snippy scissors and snip the tops, just the top new growth. That's all lovely soft. And then brought back here, and I'm filling my jar. I'm going to pack it quite full with these holly leaves, and then cover with vodka. And this is the way that we make herbal tinctures. And the vodka is going to extract all of the alcohol soluble constituents that are in the holly. I'm going to leave it in this tincture. Ooh, some of the vodka escaped there. From this full moon till the following full moon, so the July full moon. I'm going to get a stone and push down all of the holly leaves so that they go under the vodka to stop any oxidation at the top. And that's the holly tincture. So as I mentioned earlier, holly is a sacred tree, an incredibly strong tree that's surrounded with various tales and stories, rich in folklore, steeped in magic. The holly and the oak tree, another great sacred tree of these isles, are brothers. And when they were born, they're twins. They were born on the same day, and they were vying for their mother's affection. And as brothers, one with darkness and one with lightness in their complexions, they each sought her attention. And for fairness and to stop almighty wars breaking out on a daily basis between these brothers, their mother, the incredibly intelligent earth queen goddess of all nature, decided that she would divide their time equally. So the holly would take up all of her attention from the summer solstice until the winter solstice, where the holly grew in energy and stature. And on the winter solstice, the oak would come along and they'd have a bit of a tussle, and that's the day they'd fight. And the oak brother would take over, and the oak would grow in stature and energy until the summer solstice, when the oak was at his prime and the holly would come in. And as the oak's prime declines, the holly and the oak would have another almighty battle, and the holly would take over. And this attention of their mother being sought in that way is the way that the oak and the holly have the energy of holding the space and being those revered and incredible trees. And the holly, you might bring holly leaves in around Christmas time. You might like to have the holly with those familiar red berries in your wreath. And those leaves are a lot harder and a lot pricklier, but the leaves hold in them beautiful reflective nature. We can look into the leaves and, akin to a mirror, we can really reflect our own natures back to ourselves. So on a more spiritual or esoteric level, the holly gives us gifts of self-recognition, self-awareness, and time for self-reflection. But this particular potion, this tincture that is being made today, is going to be worked with in ritual situations, similar to if you've ever attended a cacao ceremony. And the recent, because it has been recent, uprising of sacred cacao and ceremonial grade cacao is at times problematic and can leave me feeling a little bit cynical, because I know very well from my visits over to Central America that there are issues with cacao harvest, with the harvesting of chocolate, with the actual health of the trees, with fair trade and fair work. And although there are many companies who are ethical and reputable and brilliant, there's also companies that aren't as caring and profiteering. And just the fact that it's become a real fashion, that human beings have decided it's like a la mode, it's the cutting edge thing to do, become a cacao shaman or go to cacao ceremonies, that means that there's not always going to be as much consciousness and attention to care and love and detail around it. This holly gives you the opportunity to go and connect with your local holly. It gives you the opportunity to go and develop a relationship with the holly that grows around you. And you don't need to make a tincture straight away. You don't need to go and consume holly. You can start to get to know holly, maybe begin a journal, maybe start to create art around holly, maybe nibble a leaf and see what those flavours invoke in you. It was many years after developing a relationship with holly that we began to make tinctures, and there's lots and lots of different medicinal qualities, actions, constituents and chemicals that will be extracted within this tincture. A medical herbalist would and does prescribe exact dosages of this tincture for ailments which include pleurisy or bronchitis, different lung conditions, because holly is a fabulous herb to support the whole respiratory system. That's one way that we prescribe, but there's a multitude because there's many different chemical constituents within the holly leaf.
Hey there. So it is worth mentioning that when we're approaching any herbal remedy, that we really approach it with respect and love, and not just as a commodity for us to take from. And with something like holly, we're really talking about a medicine, a herbal medicine that can be enjoyed, but that can be worked with in really conscious dosage. So not treating it as a commodity just to be taken from. The world's gone crazy on certain plants. They seem to really tap into something within human consciousness and connection, like coffee, the coffee plant, like chocolate, cacao that we're talking about in this video. And we really go for it in a big way as humans. Word spreads, people jump on whatever substance it is that's in fashion. And holly is a tree that really needs to be approached with respect and care, especially the berries. We know that they have an extremely high toxicity level, mainly from the saponins, but they do cause extreme vomiting and can be really toxic for the system. The leaves, it's uncertain about the toxicity levels, and the leaves have been worked with for centuries as a herbal remedy. They do have these amazing compounds that can be really beneficial to the body, but they also contain saponins and should be approached with care and respect, with a gentle approach, with a conscientious approach, with coming from a really heart connected space. And that's why when we're talking about making a tincture and working with these plants, we work with drop doses. They're much more energetic doses, so that you get this feeling of the beneficial compounds, but that we don't overload the system or the body or the mucous membranes that can really respond to the saponins getting irritated and causing these kind of more severe reactions. So let's revere the holly. Let's love and care for the holly.
And that's why it's important, if you are going to be making herbal tinctures, that you begin to understand what the tastes and flavours translate to in their constituent language, what you could be affecting by taking doses of herbal medicine tinctures. The way we work with holly on a more ritualistic fashion, if you like, is we use drop doses of this tincture within another tea that we blend various different herbs within as well. Nothing is linear, if you like. I was going to say simple, but there are some lovely simple things in life as well. But what's really important here is that we don't want you to look at nature as something to consume. We'd love you to start relationship with your local plants and trees, and in that relationship develop your own nuanced understanding, care, respect and attention for both yourself and the plants that grow around you. We've written a fabulous blog all about the holly that goes into a bit more detail about the folklore, but the similarities. So Ilex aquifolium is the Latin name of holly, and another famous ilex that you might have heard of is yerba mate or mate, that comes specifically in Colombia, is where I've met mate and met people who the Colombians brought mate over for me to try, and that's a cousin of the holly. It's a drink that is drunk to, again, uplift, open, bring joyousness into life. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of my rant on holly, and get to know your local trees.